Alright, so this is number 8 from our angle addition worksheet. We were given some information. Ray QR bisects angle PQS. So immediately I'm going to put my markings to show, yep, I do know that it has bisected it. It's cut it in half. So now I have two congruent angles. The measure of angle PQR is 2x squared. And the measure of angle RQS, is 7x plus 17 plus 15. So we are given half and half. Those are congruent. Those are two equal parts. So now I can set up my equation, and my equation is 2x squared equals 7x plus 15. The geometry part is done. The rest is algebra. I notice that this is a quadratic. I know it's a quadratic because it has x squared. So I know that I'm going to have to factor this. So what I'm going to do is move everything to one side of the equal sign. Okay? So I'm going to have 2x squared minus 7x minus 15 equals 0. And now I am ready to factor. That's our first step. So the first thing that I always do is I write down my parentheses. I get myself set up. I write my skeleton. Okay? The difference here is that our leading coefficient is 2. This makes our factoring a little bit harder than it normally is. So I know the only way to make a 2 is 2 times 1. So I know I'm going to have a 2x and an x. So you can go ahead and write that down. There's no other combinations. Here's where it gets tricky. I go to the side and I write 15. I got that from right here. And I need to think of the factors of 15. So you sit there and you brainstorm. Okay, we've got 3 and 5, and we've got 1 and 15. Oh, thank goodness, there's not a lot of options. Now the trick here is you need to make a -7. And you get to double one of those factors to help you make that -7. So let's play with it. Could I double 3? Okay, now I have 6. Could I make -7 out of a 6 and a 5? No. Okay, let's try this one. 5. Could I double 5 and get 10? Could I make a 7 out of a 10 and a 3? Ding, 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 ding. I can make a 7 out of that. So 3 and 5 are my winners, and 5 is my one that needs to be doubled. So I'm going to make sure that I put 5 away from the 2. That way when we FOIL, it gets doubled. So I'm putting my 5 here. 100%. What factor went with the 5? Well, I look over there. Okay, the 3. Now I need to figure out, do I want it to be 10 minus 3, or do I want it to be 3 minus 10? We need to make a -7, so we want it to be 3 minus 10. That 5 is going to turn into a 10, so I want him to be negative and my 3 to be positive. Whew! We've just done the hardest part. Now we set them each equal to 0, and we will solve for x. X minus 5 equals 0. We do plus 5 plus 5. X equals 5. That's one of our answers. 2x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3. 2x equals -3. And divide by 2. X equals -3 halves, or -1.5. Okay, so those are our x values. Did it ask you to find x? No. It asked you to find angle PQS. So now we have to plug it in. Notice, PQS is the entire angle. But the cool thing is, I can just plug it into one of my halves, and then I can double it. I'm going to plug it into whichever one you think is easier. I don't know which one you think is easier. I'll just pick one. I'll choose x equals 5, and I'll plug it in here. 7 times 5 plus 15. So you go to your handy dandy calculator and you do 7 times 5 plus 15. And we get 50. Now remember, that's for this angle. That angle's 50. These are congruent. That angle's 50. So one of our answers for PQS is 100 degrees. We're halfway done. We had 2 answers. Remember, that's what happens when you have quadratic. Sometimes you throw it out, but sometimes you don't. Let's see if we have to throw it out. Now I'm going to plug in -3 halves, and I'm going to let my calculator do the tough work. 7 times negative 3/2 plus 15. I don't have to be scared of that fraction. I can tell my calculator to do it. 7 times negative 1.5 plus 15. And I get 4.5. That's weird, but go with it. So this angle's 4.5. This angle's 4.5. 4.5 plus 4.5 is 9. And actually, you don't put the degree symbol. I'm sorry, I put the degree symbol. You don't need that. So the measure of angle PQS is 100, and it's 9. 2 answers.